To everyone's confusion, Nintendo shadow dropped a Fire Emblem game on September 25th, 2025 with no marketing whatsoever. After playing this game for several hours, I can see why. If you enjoy videos like this, support your boy by hitting that like button and subscribe for more content. Thanks. To explain the publisher's lack of confidence in Fire Emblem Shadows, the shadow-dropped Fire Emblem game, we have to answer a simple question. What kind of Fire Emblem game is Fire Emblem Shadows? Unlike a traditional Fire Emblem game where you'd move units on a grid-like map strategically to gain an advantage in unfair situations, while managing your resources to ensure that your army makes it out with minimal casualties, your singular unit in Fire Emblem Shadows moves on a grid automatically towards the nearest opponent and attempts to auto-attack said enemies on a global timer. As your unit is doing its thing, you are able to cast damaging or supportive spells and skills on enemies and allies alike. And after doing so, your skills and spells go on a global cooldown. The game plays more like a real-time strategy tower defense game, but with a twist. Every match you partake in after the tutorial is multiplayer locked, where a team of 3 players play through 2 phases of combat, the Sun phase and the Moon phase. While transitioning from the Sun to the Moon phase, you'll have to vote for whoever you think is the traitor, for one of you will always be fighting for the shadows while the other 2 are fighting for the light. This is where the skill and spell system comes into play. Area of effect abilities could accidentally hit allied units or be an intentional way for the traitor to set up and have an immense advantage during the Moon phase as the traitor's identity is revealed and you'll have to fight the main party. The same can be said about heals or utility skills. Maybe you healed an NPC enemy alongside your ally just to make it seem like, oops, I misclicked, I was trying to heal you but I healed the enemy on accident, I didn't mean to actually do it. No matter what you end up doing, normal skills and spells have the player's icon attached to them, letting people know who did what exactly. Except for 2 additional skills that you gain when you are a traitor. You can summon minions and cast attacks that are unmarked. You could even use this to kill your ally or even your own unit to trick your allies before the voting phase. That's right, keeping in mind with the core themes of Fire Emblem, you can kill yourself to win. Sussing out the imposter during the voting phase gives the player who guessed correctly an extra life during the Moon phase. This extra life for the light side team seems almost essential when fighting opponents who upgraded their characters with decent items and level ups. To my surprise, unlocking more unit types does not involve a gacha. You either play more to unlock resources to unlock and upgrade a unit, or you pay to unlock them faster. For more premium units, like Lyn and Dimitri, you need to get the battle pass to unlock them. There's no other way to do so. And I'm sure after enough time, newer characters will power creep the current characters quite easily, forcing you to either pay up or get one-shotted in the actual game by people who have thrown money at this game. It is pure pay to win in structure itself. Another way that you could separate the haves and haves not is that from the battle pass you can get very strong 7-star weapons. These strong weapons can also be obtained through randomly playing the game, but I don't know what the percentage chances are. I was able to get a 7-star spear, but I'm not even sure if that's at the same tier of strength as the battle pass weapon. You can even customize each unit's skill palette and unlock more skills from random post-game rewards just like the weapons. And there is one more way that we can customize our unit, and that is by means of unlocking new outfits via a paid currency. To be very clear, your character's individual level and progression has an immense impact on how easily you can defeat other players. Tying this type of progression and power mainly to the battle pass makes it very clear. You either pay or you lose. You can be as smart and as crafty as you would like to be in the Sun phase, but it doesn't matter when your units just die in 2 hits anyways. This Fire Emblem game is a multiplayer only real-time strategy game with a blend of Among Us. The idea is interesting, but the execution, super questionable. When you're first dropped into the game, there's a tutorial segment of a prince running away from invaders attacking his home country while he's saved by a veteran knight and 2 supporting knights draped in green and red. Each scene is fully voiced with quality voice work. The story seems pretty standard fare for a Fire Emblem game, but after the tutorial, the story takes a massive backseat as you have to rank up by playing the multiplayer component to get snippets of story told through you in a visual novel format that is no longer fully voiced. And while there's nothing wrong with this, it feels very segmented. Instead of the story complementing and enhancing the gameplay and vice versa, the 2 different paths end up disrupting one another. Maybe there was a single player mode designed at one point for this game that never made it out of the cutting room floor. In that case, I can definitely see why. I consider myself a pretty big Fire Emblem fan, and I also consider myself someone who seeks new experiences and pushes for innovation. New and wacky mechanics are fine, as long as they are well-meaning and adds to what the game wants to say. And the more that I play this game, the more I keep asking myself, who is this game for? What is the target demographic? I can see a very small subsection of Fire Emblem fans who would enjoy furry Dimitri eviscerating his enemies, but even then, I don't think they'd want it like this. Fire Emblem Shadows feels to me like someone's fever dream. Somebody who really enjoys games like Among Us, Arknights, Fire Emblem, and other tower defense games, and wanted to combine it all into one ultimate game without considering if these mechanics and systems would complement one another or not. This game has all the outward flourishes of a Fire Emblem game. It's got the waifus, it's got the weapon triangles, it's got the grid-like map, it's got Dimitri and Lyn from Super Smash Bros. But if you look past the thin veil, you can see that it's missing everything that makes a Fire Emblem game what it is. A strategic game that hinges on a strong risk and reward loop while offering meaningful character development and interaction. Multiplayer in a Fire Emblem game has always been divisive amongst fans. It's either a very fun mode for laughs or a broken mess, and all of this stems from a simple truth. It is very hard to make a turn-based game work for multiplayer because you miss that reaction and time elements. Without that, you can realistically play the game by yourself. There's no need to have multiple people outside of a shared experience. A great example of this is Baldur's Gate 3. It is very fun with friends, but you would also have a lot of fun playing this game alone with no real harm done to your gaming experience. You're not truly missing out on anything. Everything that you can interact with, you can do alone. And unlike Baldur's Gate, where the game is enjoyable no matter if it's single player or multiplayer, without the multiplayer aspects of Fire Emblem Shadows, this game really isn't enjoyable at all. The gameplay loop itself is too shallow to support extended play. There is some semblance of strategy, but it has nothing to do with how well you built your unit or making good use of your terrain or anything like that. You don't even have to care about what enemies are on the field and where they are, because you can't really directly control any of your units' actions anyways. To add insult to injury, the tension that comes from determining who a traitor is in the mafia style Among Us type games doesn't exist because each match starts and ends within 2 minutes. There's no build up, no emotional investment, so when the traitor reveals themselves, who cares? You never built up any trust with anyone anyways. I could see this being fun to play with friends while waiting for something else to do or as a side mode for a more fully fleshed out game. But as a standalone project, the novelty wears off super fast and the gameplay loop works against itself. I have a strong feeling this game has shifted and changed many times throughout its development cycle. If it wanted to be a gacha-free multiplayer-only Fire Emblem game, why have us play as specific units? Why not have the players create a character, choose from different classes and weapon types, mix and match skills, and pick your furry mode and sell costumes and outfit for said units that you can make? By implementing a my unit type system, you get a progression system that will not only complement the multiplayer focus of the game, you also feed that progression into your monetization loop of expressing a player's style and taste in the multiplayer aspect through the selling of cosmetic items. And then you'd also avoid the power creep that comes alongside limited units that are battle pass only. But anyways, that aside, to go back and answer the mystery of what this game is and why it got no marketing, it seems pretty clear after playing for a couple hours that this game is not a bad game per se. It's just not a game marketable to Fire Emblem fans, or maybe anyone for that matter. It is a game that wants to innovate and introduce meaningful multiplayer to a franchise that is single player focused, but fails to acknowledge the underlying DNA of what makes a Fire Emblem game a Fire Emblem game. It is a game that doesn't really know what it wants to be or what it wants to say. Simply put, Fire Emblem Shadows isn't a Fire Emblem game. It isn't even a good game. But at the very least, this game lives up to its name. It is a shadow of a game, hollow and ephemeral, owing its very existence to borrowed ideas while contributing none of its own. I did not go into this review looking to bash this game. I didn't even go into it expecting a Fire Emblem experience, and yet I was disappointed. Not because it wasn't a Fire Emblem game, but because it felt like an empty experience looking to make a quick buck before it dies out due to a lack of inspired ideas. However, if I was a Fire Emblem fan expecting a Fire Emblem experience when I tried this game, I would be outraged, maybe even insulted, but that's just my opinion. If you also gave this game a try as a Fire Emblem fan, what are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. From my perspective, the reason we enjoy Fire Emblem so much hinges on a not-so-secret ingredient. If you're a fan, can you guess what it is? To learn more about the secret ingredient, check out the video on screen right now. My name is Varsona, and I'll see you in the next video.